You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Since 96, MLS has been the youngest soccer league. From 10 teams to 30, playoffs and parity. Battered MLS bring local guests to cover games. Analysis firsthand, not Google like other lames. Stats and recaps cover the West and East. Can't forget, we're on Sean Johnson. Watch every week. DPs for the elite. 10 gam get you the vets. Playoff trees as American as it gets. It's time to turn off the world, grab a drink and let's go. We're Battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show. Battered MLS fans, so lock in on
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Well, the Battered fans are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 74 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Granada, and alongside me, I got Mr. MLS Moves. Will, how are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing really good now because you and I can have a discussion live because we've been texting all weekend and going back and forth. We talked last week, so I'm excited about the topics and hopefully everyone else is excited to talk about it. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Yankees move on after being down 1-0 in the series. They won 2 in a row against Boston. You know, that's my favorite team to hate in sports, the Boston Red Sox. So good night for me, but let's get back onto the footy. Supporter Shield, let's start with it because like you just alluded to, we have had a discussion back and forth about the Supporter Shield. I thought that Inter Miami was a shoo-in to win the Supporter Shield just because they had so many games in hand, and I felt like the opponents that they were playing against were weak. I guess it didn't take so much into consideration the fact that they were playing every 3 days. For example, they played on Saturday against Toronto, where they got Sean Johnson, and then they played on Tuesday against a Chicago team that was firing on all cylinders. So, and then Mascherano rotated his defense. Vancouver has been dropping points, which is the team that you told me would beat Miami out for the Supporter Shield. And it looks like it might be Philadelphia, which I believe they can clinch it this weekend. So, Will, are you surprised that Philadelphia might win the Supporter Shield? By the way, I just want to preface this for everybody that loves to say, oh, you got no ball knowledge. I predicted Philadelphia to finish top 4 in the East, which Will and Fabian gave me crap for on our season preview show. So I just wanted to put that out there just a second. Go ahead, Will.
No, I will say this. You definitely were the first person to say Philadelphia were going to be pretty good this year. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Philadelphia is in the driver's seat to win the Supporter Shield. It's in their hands, kind of like how Miami, it was in their hands. They just had to win the remaining games, or you said 1 draw and 5 wins or whatever it was, and that didn't happen. But that's the thing. It's like you just can't. I don't even know if Philadelphia is guaranteed. Yeah, that's in their control, but they got to play New York City. They got to play Charlotte FC. Charlotte FC, you know, struggled a little bit recently, but they're very good at home. Now that Philadelphia plays New York City played them at Philadelphia this weekend. Yeah, I don't know. Now the good thing is though, is that because they played all their games, they're going to have like 2 weeks off. Charlotte the Union are going to have 2 weeks off where they play Charlotte FC, so that probably will help a little bit. But man, it's just so much. It's in the air. But I want to say this: it is really sad that Miami did choke it away. But I'm just not surprised, and it has nothing to do with the games being so close to each other. It's because of who's leading these guys and how dumb he is at the decisions he makes. That's why I didn't think I didn't have the confidence, because if they'd won all their games, Danny, the remainder of their games, they would have had 70 points or something like that. I think
70,
maybe 70 points. So they would have been 4 points lower than last year when they actually had a good manager, better manager, and a better team, in my opinion. And I just don't think this team is that level. So I just never thought that was going to happen.
Well, I think going back to what you said about Philly and Charlotte, the interesting part about the Eastern Conference is that the 9 teams that are making the playoffs are all in. Like the Red Bulls are officially eliminated. That's it. All 9 teams are there. But there's only 6 points separating the 3rd seed and the 9th seed. So there's not going to be anybody resting for the playoffs. No, the Union are going to get Charlotte at full strength. NYCFC is going to come out to win. Like, these teams are all trying to jock for home field advantage. So it's going to be interesting. As far as Miami goes, I think that Miami has a better set of players. If you want to say they had a better team because they had better players to fill in certain roles, that's fair, because Diego Gomez, I think, gave them more of what they needed as far as that box-to-box midfielder. They had Yannick Bright. Boosie was slow, but he's looked slower this year. And their attack was just completely different. Data had them just. It was just different. I don't know, because it's still Jordi Alba coming up the left side. It's still Suarez and Messi. Like it just, I don't know what the difference has been in the attack, but the attack, and maybe it's the defense that everybody's playing them, because everybody has the blueprint now. You play a compact defense, you kind of just crowd that box and force them outside, and it's almost like they don't know what to do. But with all that said, Miami still has 56 points with 3 games in hand. If they were to win out, they would end up with 65 points, which would put them in, at worst, the 2nd seed. So for all the nobody believes in Miami, somehow they've managed to possibly finish at least in the 2nd spot in the East. Because, I mean, do you think that they're going to lose to New England?
No.
What about Atlanta?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I know that when we do the show, you don't want to always focus on Miami because you want to talk about the league. But just real quick, I think one thing you have to consider is a lot of these teams are going to be missing key players because the international window. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's for the Atlanta game, though.
Yeah, but I think they have to consider that, because how many guys? I mean, Rodrigo DePaul and Messi are not going to be playing in that match.
No, Messi's not going to play in that match. He'll be here. He's not playing in the.
He's not going to go. He's going to play with Argentina.
No, I don't.
What about DePaul?
DePaul might. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I know Messi. I don't think Messi's going. And then Jordi Alba, Busquets, and Suarez all retired from international duty.
Yeah.
Baltasar Rodriguez doesn't play for the team. Tadeo Segovia might go for Venezuela, but for the most part, we're going to have our squad almost full.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Miami will probably win at least 2 of their 3 remaining matches. They probably will win the 3 remaining matches. But when I was looking at the standings, I thought Vancouver was a team outside of Miami who had a chance. They controlled their own destiny. And like you said, they dropped points. But I thought they had a real chance of winning the Supporter Shield. But honestly, it's an uphill battle now. The Union, I think, I'd be surprised. Is that how you feel? Do you feel like the Union are going to win it? The Supporter Shield?
You know what? I find it. I thought that they would be good. I told Chris and I told everybody here on the show that I didn't think that Vancouver or San Diego would win it. I think San Diego might not even finish top of the West. I think the LAFC has a chance to kind of just randomly creep up on them and win the West. I think Minnesota and LAFC are going to finish above San Diego. But no, I think if it's not Philly, I think it's going to be Miami. And I think that those are the 2 teams that it comes down to.
Yeah. You want to hear a hot take real quick? I think San Diego might be – I think San Diego's going to finish 4th in the West.
Oh, okay. That's funny you say that, because I said if it was last week or the week before, that I thought they would end up 3rd or 4th also. I think Minnesota and LAFC are going to overtake them. I don't know if Vancouver will also, but I'm with you. I don't think that they end up top of the West. So you and I are on lockstep on that one.
I think LAFC are going to keep climbing, and I think they're going to win. They're going to be the first seed in the West, and then Vancouver will be 2nd, Minnesota will be 3rd, and San Diego will probably be 4th. Now there's a couple teams I was looking at this. There's I think there's 5 or 6 teams who can still win the Supporter Shield. I think.
Let me look at this. So right now, Philadelphia can end up with 69 points. Yeah. So they win out, they win. And then behind them is Cincinnati, which if they win out, they would have 65 points. San Diego wins out, they would have 63 points. Yeah. Vancouver wins out, they would have 66 points. So
LAFC wins out, they'd have 65 points.
Yeah. So if you end up with north of 65 points, 65 or more points, you have a good chance. The thing is, Philadelphia, I think if they win, they clinch. They clinch because the only team that can get more than 65 points is Cincinnati. So you have to hope that, or other teams have to hope that Philadelphia draws or loses both of these next games, because all they need is 1 win and they clinch.
Well, actually, hold on. Vancouver, if they win 9, they'll have 66. If they win the remaining 3 games, they'll have 66. So is the tiebreaker wins, or is it goal difference?
It's wins.
So if they win the remaining 3, they'd have 19. And if Philadelphia win 1 and lose, okay, yeah. So Philly would still win the tiebreaker because they've already got 19 wins. So even if Vancouver win the remaining matches, they'd have 19 wins. Philadelphia would have 20 wins if they get 66 points with their wins. So they would win the tiebreaker, but they still can get 66 points. My prediction is I think Philly's going to win the Supporters Shield. And, congratulations to them because I don't think anyone predicted that to happen. And, Bradley Carnell deserves a lot of credit for doing this in his first year, right? I mean, that's very impressive. That's very impressive. And my second team that I think, if we were to do a dark horse to win it, I think would be LAFC. Because someone said, and I agree with this, they have a very easy schedule down the remainder of the regular season. They can finish with 65 points. And, Philadelphia, like you just said a minute ago, are not guaranteed to win their final 2 matches because there's all these playoff spots. So if they finish with 63 points, I think LAFC could win the remaining 4 games.
I will tell you, NYCFC, my cousin's a big NYCFC supporter. He was talking to me about NYCFC's chances. Their last game is against, not only do you have to play against Philadelphia this week, they have to play against Seattle the last game of the year. I know that you, for some reason, hate Seattle, but I think Seattle is the squad. So I think that NYCFC is out of the running on that also. So it comes down to, I think, Vancouver, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Miami, and LAFC possibly, because LAFC has 4 games in hand over everybody.
Yeah.
So they still got plenty to play.
So I see the next talking point, Shield curse. So are you happy that Miami, or, obviously you're a Miami fan, are you happy they're not going to win the Shield?
Well, and that was going to be my question to you. But I don't believe in curses. I don't think it's that big a deal. But a lot of people do put stock into it because it hasn't been done very often. I believe, was it who was it? Somebody just
Toronto FC, maybe?
LAFC. I believe LAFC did it.
Maybe it was LAFC. Yeah, you're right. LAFC was. Yeah.
But before that, it had been a long time since a team had won the Shield and the MLS Cup. I don't see how one has to do with the other. But do you believe in the curse?
I don't believe in the curse. I just think that when you get to the playoffs, me and you are used to this because we're fans of like American sports. We just know that being the best in the regular season doesn't mean anything, and that's just how it is. So I don't believe in the curse.
No, I don't believe in it either.
No, but I do think that this might be a good thing for Miami and all these other teams who might miss out on it, because it might kind of like ignite a fire in them, like, motivate them a little bit. Like, hey, we didn't finish the regular season with the best record. We got to step it up. We got to play. We're not going to have home field advantage in the playoffs, and we're going to have to play better.
Now, I know that you don't root for any team in specific in the MLS.
Yeah,
but do you consider the Supporters Shield a trophy?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's not the most important trophy, but it does get you a Champions League spot.
Okay.
But it's not the most, like, I wouldn't, if I was a fan of a team, I would not be happy with just getting a Supporter Shield. I want the MLS Cup.
Yeah. I mean, I want my teams to win the Supporter Shield just because I want home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That's really what I want it. But I was wondering if you put stock into the actual Shield. All right, so we talked about Supporter Shield and the teams that are possibly going to get it. But Supporter Shield aside, when you look at the top teams in the East and West, who do you think are legit MLS Cup contenders? Because I don't see, like last year, where the Red Bulls just randomly made a run to the final. Which would you say, like, this team's a contender? Oh, let me just throw out names at you. Philadelphia.
No.
Okay. Cincinnati.
Yes.
So you think Philadelphia knows Cincinnati, yes?
Yes. Let me tell you why.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, because Philadelphia doesn't have any X factors like Cincinnati. They have 2 legitimate ballers, Evander and Danke, who can take over a game. Philly have a money ball team who plays collectively well, but they don't have a guy who can just single-handedly win them a game. They play very good ball together as a team, but who's going to be the guy that's going to take over a match if they need them to, when we're talking about the highest quality of matches in MLS? Who's going to be the guy that takes over for him?
Quinn Sullivan.
Did he just tear his ACL?
Did he? When?
Yeah, he's out for I think he's out for the season. He tore his ACL.
When the fuck did this happen?
Yeah, I think he just tore his ACL this past weekend.
Oh my God, yes. I just saw right here. Suffer
Yeah.
season-ending injury.
Yeah.
All right, Philadelphia, you're no longer contenders in my book. All right, Cincinnati, contenders.
Yeah.
San Diego.
No, but they do have a guy who can take over, Dreyer. Very good player. Me and you watched him numerous times. Very fun to watch. But I just think expansion teams don't win MLS Cups.
They're going to end up like St. Louis out in the first round?
No, I don't think. I think they're better than St. Louis, but they're just not good enough to win maybe past the first round.
And by the way, Philadelphia, I was joking. I'm not done with Philadelphia. They have the best defense in the league, and I think that defense wins you championships. So I'm not going to say Philadelphia is not a contender, but the Quinn Sullivan thing did just kill me. Vancouver.
Yes.
Absolutely. Especially if they're playing at home with that carpet that they play on.
Yes. Yes.
NYCFC in the Sandlot.
No.
Okay. Miami.
No.
This guy's a clown. Minnesota.
No, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me tell you why, okay? It has nothing to do with Messi, because obviously he's good. They just got too much weight. There's too much weighing them down, and they have an idiot who's managing this team who can't. If Tata can't win, then Javier Mascherano sure as hell can't win with a worse team than last year. And I just don't like. We saw Messi have a bad game against. Damn, I did a live stream for it. Chicago. And they got smoked. If he has one bad game, an elimination game, it's over. Even when Luis Suarez is scoring a brace, they still lose. Messi is literally the driving force of this team. And if he has one bad game, I don't think they can win.
That's fair, but can't you say that about most teams?
But most teams have other players who are good, not just one guy.
Miami
I don't think anybody
has good players.
Here's the problem, though. Like I said, when you got Rodrigo de Paul playing out wide right, that just kills the attack.
Rodrigo de Paul has been overrated.
Well, because he's playing out of position. If I played Messi at center back, we'd be saying he's overrated because it's not his position.
Well, the times that we have been able to see him centrally, I think it's not so much. It's the effort. It's been really sad to see his effort. It looks like defensively, at least, he doesn't show any effort, and that's been because his nickname is El Motorcito, right? It's just like the engine, and it's been anything but that when he's not on or when they're not on the ball. Okay, but I think Miami literally has a chance to end up if they win out, second place in the league as far as points go. That say what you want. That's impressive. But I understand what you're saying.
If you're asking me, do they have a chance? Yes, they have a chance. Like obviously, they have a chance. But I'm just saying, I don't think they will. No, I don't think they will. They're not going to win MLS Cup this year.
Minnesota.
No.
Another good defense. Look, if you have a good defense, I say you have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte.
No. Too inconsistent.
I agree. Nashville.
No.
I agree. LAFC.
Yes. They're probably my favorites.
What if Sun has a bad game? Then Bologna picks it up?
But that's the thing. This is my point, is they have two players who would be the best player on 27 of 30 MLS teams in the league. Two guys on one team that good. And they've scored 15 goals in 4 matches. Who else is doing that? Doesn't happen like that. So right now, the way they're playing, I think they're the best team in the league.
Orlando.
No. Oscar Pereira chokes too much.
And I'm not going to go any further down. Seattle.
No. They don't have anybody to score. And Columbus definitely not too, because I want to mention them because obviously Nazi's good. They clinched a playoff spot. No. It's too late.
All right. You are Philadelphia.
Okay.
You get the first seed in the Eastern Conference, and then your gift is a first-round matchup against Columbus. Nobody wants to end up playing against a team like Columbus in the first round.
No. Well, and here's the thing. So Columbus will play Chicago in that play-in, most likely, right? And now Chicago could technically move up still.
Yeah.
I think that Chicago, because the East is crazy competitive. Me and you both agree with that. It's fucking
From
good,
top
man.
to bottom,
It's deep.
yeah.
It's deep. I don't think Philadelphia is guaranteed to win that first round because the Fire and the Crew are both better than last year's Atlanta team, and we saw how that ended. It just, it's competitive. Like, I think that they could lose in the first round.
And whereas in the West, I think that there's going to be no upsets in the first round. But I think in the Eastern Conference, there are opportunities for upsets. Right now in the Western Conference, if things ended as they are right now, San Diego, which we don't think is going to end up in first, but hypothetically they end up in first, they will play
Yeah.
against either Colorado or San Jose, and I think
Yeah.
they could take care of them. Vancouver would play against Portland. I think they could take care of them. Minnesota against Austin, and then LAFC against Seattle. Ooh, LAFC versus Seattle.
That's not going to happen. It's going to be the first round.
Ooh,
Or, excuse me, they're going to be the first or second seed. They'll be playing Colorado.
You know, you don't want to
Florida.
see LAFC against Seattle.
That's not going to happen.
You don't want that to happen because you know how that might end up. All right. So contender. So moving on. U.S. Open Cup was played yesterday. Nashville wins their first ever trophy, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Before I get into the Nashville, your thoughts on just the Open Cup in general, because that's a hot topic on this show.
I like it.
Okay.
I'm pro U.S. Open Cup. It's the oldest trophy in North America. So what, 1904 or 1914? That's what it's 1914. Yeah, I like it. I mean,
the first winner was Brooklyn FC.
Yeah, I'm cool. I like it. I it kind of made me upset when that last year they took MLS teams out of it and didn't have everyone participate in it. I mean, I like U.S. Open Cup. I wish they promoted a little more. But yeah, I'm pro U.S. Open Cup.
You think that they're gonna put more MLS teams in it next year?
I hope so.
Do you like it more than the Leagues Cup?
Yeah.
Because that's the debate on this show.
Do you like it more than Leagues Cup?
I like the Leagues Cup more than I like the Open Cup.
Well, I mean, I like the Open Cup because of tradition. And Leagues Cup's kind of like, a little fatigue with it. We've seen it numerous times. This year was kind of cool with the way they did it, but it's like, both tournaments get you Champions League spots, right? I mean, the winner of Leagues Cup gets you the top three finishers get you a Leagues Cup spot, but the U.S. Open Cup winner gets a league spot. I mean, look, I don't know why.
Uncle Mad, our Nashville guest usually on our show. He must have been happy yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was as a Tennessean, I think it's they said it's the first major trophy that any professional team has ever won in Tennessee.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. I mean, the Predators have never won. The Grizzlies have never won. The Titans sure as hell have never won.
The Titans got close. Kevin Dyson reaching out for the. Oh, were you even born back then?
Yeah, dude. What the hell? I'm not that young. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I don't need to relive my family's trauma. But yeah, no. I mean, yes, they said it's the first major trophy the state of Tennessee's ever won. So, yeah. I mean, I like U.S. Open Cup. The game yesterday was kind of weird, but it's definitely better than Campeones Cup. What do you think about that? I mean, does that shit matter?
No, it doesn't. I'm going to tell you something. And I know that most people that watch this show and watch all the soccer shows are usually soccer's their number one sport and they've grown up with it. And I get that. But one thing that I do not like about this sport is the amount of trophies that there are.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of everybody has a chance at just getting one of the 10 trophies. Don't worry if you're not the best team. You have plenty of trophies to fight for. I wish it was just one trophy, just one champion every year. There's no reason that right now. And shout out to Uncle Matt. I know he's happy, but there were a bunch of Nashville fans like singing "We Are the Champions." The season's still going. The champion hasn't been crowned yet. But I get it. You win a trophy if you're a soccer fan, and I've adapted, right? When we won the Leagues Cup, I mean, I'm sure it had a lot to do with the fact that month was crazy with Messi, but I was happy. But I don't know. I just think it's so many trophies. You have Leagues Cup, Open Cup, Supporter Shield. If you say the Club World Cup, you have what am I missing?
CONCACAF Champions Cup.
CONCACAF Champions Cup. You have the MLS Cup, and it's Jesus Christ. And then if you're Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal, you got the Canadian Cup, which Vancouver won yesterday. I don't know, man.
You get an Eastern Western Conference trophy if you win that to go to the MLS Cup. I mean, look, I'm cool with trophies. I have no issues with that, but I don't like the Champions League being played in the middle of the season because it kind of the climax of that, and then you got to play another half a season. Leagues Cup the same way. After it was played this year, then that kind of makes it feel like this is huge event, and then you got to play the rest of the season after that. I don't know. I agree with you that it kind of like devalues them, waters it down, but it's like I don't the league's the one that made up all these different trophies and stuff.
No,
I mean,
I
MLS
know. I agree.
Campeones Cup is so like that's why people think I'm hating. I'm not hating. I'm just wondering like who was watching that shit. I mean, if you're not a Toluca or Galaxy fan, did you watch any of that game?
No,
I didn't watch any of that game. I don't care. Like, what does that matter?
I had a hard time watching the Open Cup game because it was on Paramount. I don't have Paramount. I went to put it on and it wouldn't let me watch it. I was like, I'm not going to pay for this.
Yeah.
So
this is what I'll say too. Just one more thing about the trophies. There's only 2 trophies that matter to me. Okay, this is my personal preference. I'm not saying that U.S. Open Cup I hate it or anything like that. MLS Cup, Champions League. It's only 2 that matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that matters to me. Winning the league and winning the region. Only trophies that matter to me.
I agree. So real quick to Nashville.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that a team winning their first trophy is absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Get that off your back. And BJ Callahan, I think at this point, you win that trophy, no matter what happens from here on out. This first season for BJ Callahan in Nashville was a success.
It was, yeah. I agree.
So, and I think I was surprised at how well they did this year because I kept saying on this show that I thought that next year would be the year for Nashville to take that big step. But they surprised me. I thought they did very well. I thought it was very cool that Honey Mustard and Zimmerman were the ones that received that trophy. First, they were the first 2 to touch it because when you think Nashville, I think those are the 2 names that come to just about everybody's mind. So I thought it was a very cool moment for them. So props to them and congratulations to all the Nashville SC fans.
Oh, I agree. Anytime your team wins something, it is good. And like I said, the cool thing about it is they're going to be able to play in the Champions League. I think it's the first time they played in 2020 because after the final with Inter Miami. So this will be their second time in Champions League. I mean, anytime you get to compete for that trophy, it's cool. So like, I mean, I would be happy to have this trophy and then get to compete in that because I don't think Nashville's going to have a chance to compete in the Champions League based on the regular season. It's going to have to be something like this.
Well, I mean, the way that so many teams make it that at the moment, Miami already has a berth, Seattle has a berth, and you end up having like if one of the teams that don't have a trophy yet win the MLS Cup. I'm sorry, one of the teams that do have a ticket into the Champions Cup, right? If they win the MLS Cup, all of a sudden it grants another team an entrance. So a lot of teams make it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I know a little off topic, but I brought up Kevin Dyson, brought up the NFL for a second. So just going to ask you a quick question before I ask you for your final thoughts.
Okay.
Super Bowl. Halftime show.
Yeah?
You heard of the controversy with Bad Bunny and all this other stuff?
Yeah. I was talking to my wife about that earlier.
I was talking to my wife about it earlier also. So I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's a big deal?
No. The way I look at it is he's like the most popular artist in the world, I think. And they asked him to perform because he's popular. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is.
I agree. Now, I get that the whole his songs are in Spanish. I get it. But from a business aspect, because the NFL is playing games in Brazil this year, playing games in London, they're trying to go global. So you get the biggest global star. So I was just curious. I don't know. You're American from Tennessee, and I know Middle America is the one that generally has a problem with it. So I was just curious. I just thought that they went based off of the global thing.
I don't care. I mean, like but that's the thing. It's like I understand
the
who
business
he is.
Aspect of it.
I know who he is. He's like the most popular artist in the world. Does Will even listen? Yeah, I don't listen to music. I don't like food either. But one thing I wanted to ask you though, because I thought this was interesting. I put out a tweet about this. Is like an MLS thing. I want to get your thoughts on it. So the standings, right? There's going to be. Can I share this real quick? Just like that way we can kind of look at it. Let me see. Let me zoom in. So this is something interesting. I always talk about every year, and I think it's like people don't talk about this enough or hold a standard. But just looking at the playoffs, right? And there's 9 teams from each conference that are going to make it, right? Do you think because 18 of 30 teams make the playoffs that not making the playoffs in MLS
is a fireable offense?
Unacceptable.
I think not making it 2 years consecutively is unacceptable.
So you're willing to give a free pass if it's like their first year?
Depends. If
Okay.
it's a new coach with a rebuilding squad where like you just had a mass exodus of players, like Toronto, for example, yes.
Yeah.
If you are somebody like Ronnie Dalia, which I don't understand how he still has a job, where they spent a bunch of money, Will himself was predicting to end up in the top of the Eastern Conference, and they only have DC under them.
Yeah.
I think that that's a fireable offense because there's enough spots where you should make it. The Red Bulls also, I think that's a fireable offense. You're not the defending Eastern Conference champs, and all of a sudden just miss the playoffs altogether. Is this the first time that ever happens? That the Eastern and Western champs from last year missed the playoffs the following year?
Probably, yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
I don't think so. No, I think it probably is. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, okay, look at this real quick. So, like you just said, Atlanta United spent $60 million this year, and I thought they're going to be better than what they are. They're terrible, right? They should fire Dyla. I think they should fire him now. But like LA Galaxy, nobody can convince me that the LA Galaxy are just so bad without Ricky Puig that they can only win 5 games all year. Like, there's just no way. They had other players last year who were very good, and they did lose Jovic to Sporting Kansas City, but Peck and Paintsel, all these other dudes, they're just no, like, if they finish 9th in the Western Conference, okay, fine. That's cool. I understand that could happen. But to be the worst team in the league, they're going to finish. They're going to have the wooden spoon. They have the least amount of points in the entire league. Like, I think they should fire their coach in a heartbeat.
I think that winning the trophy gives you a pass.
What trophy did they win?
The MLS Cup.
Last year, though.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that gives you a pass. I think that gives you a 1-year pass.
Well, here's what I'll say, though. You got to think about this, Danny. You got to think about this. We're talking about the winner of the league, which you and I agree with. That's the pinnacle, right? That is the most important trophy to being the worst team in the league. We're talking about going from 1 to 30. Like, that is just too much of a drop. We're not talking about going from 1 to 15. We're talking about going from 1 to 30. Like, that is the worst plummet you could possibly have. And this is also the worst statistical season in Galaxy history.
Okay, but I guess last year's Galaxy team.
Yeah.
If you could think back and try to remember, because I remember what I thought and what a lot of people on the show thought. Did you think the Galaxy had any chance to win the MLS Cup last year? Because I think for a lot of people, they were surprised that they made it.
No, I thought they could because their attack was so good. I swear I thought they could. I was on record saying with the attack they had. Now, my friend Chris Tucker, who's a Galaxy podcaster, was telling me, he's like, dude, our defense is not good enough. And I'm like, dude, this attack is so good they could win it. This attack is that good with Peck, Jovic, Paintsel, and Ricky Puig that they could win it. And like, my point is like, one player should not make you go from 1st to 30. Like, this is not the NBA. Like, if LeBron James went out, of course, they're probably going to be really bad. But a good coach with some good players still should be able to at least be in the playoff hunt. So I think that he should be fired for that. We've talked about this off camera. If Miami don't win some trophy this year, they're going to fire Javier Mascherano. They're going to fire him if he does not win a trophy this year. Even if he makes it to the final and loses, they're going to fire him. So if that's the case, how can a team who doesn't, they're the worst team in the league, not, if Javier Mascherano did win the MLS Cup this year, and then next year Miami's the 30th worst, they're the 30th team in the league, they're going to fire him. You and I both know they would.
No, I'm not sure yet. But the thing is, the Galaxy, they won the MLS Cup. They lost their best player. And I know what you're saying, that he shouldn't make that big a difference. But those are the two things that I think are the reason why he's going to keep his job, is because they just won the biggest trophy there is to win in the league. And then they lost their best player. So with all those two things considered, I think he keeps his job for at least another season. And on top of everything else, I'm sure that he has a good relationship with Puig, Paintsel, Peck. If you bring somebody else, you don't know if they're going to be better. At least you know that you have somebody that showed that they can take you to the promised land. Who are you going to bring next? You don't know that they're going to do better than him. The grass isn't always greener. For everybody, for example, Inter Miami, there were a lot of Inter Miami fans that said Tata out. They didn't want Tata, which was crazy to me at the time. And they said the defense that he plays, horrible defense. So they thought, okay, let's get rid of Tata. Let's bring somebody else in. They bring in Mascherano, a defensive-minded. Well, when he was a player, he was defensive-minded. the defense is one of the worst defenses in the league. The grass isn't always greener. If you have somebody that's proven that can take you to the promised land, and they just lost their player, you give them another year. That's my opinion.
Well, and this is what I've talked about this with several people. It's like, I thought Tata Martino deserved to be fired based off that exit, and you said you understood it. Like, I'm not saying you were for it, but you understood it, right? But just because Mascherano is bad doesn't mean firing Tata Martino was the wrong decision. It just means that they just didn't bring the right guy in to replace him. Like, I just don't think him being bad means that Tata being fired was the wrong decision.
I think it was the wrong decision. I think those are hasty decisions. I think those are hasty decisions that you can hold off on, because some people are like, oh, that's it. You had a bad year. That's it. Let's start over. And that's why some people are annoyed that there isn't no pro rel, because they're like, oh, well, you know what? If you have a bad season, then you should get relegated. No, some people have bad years, and next year Galaxy will be a top 4 team again.
Well, yeah, listen, and like I said, my whole point is that if you have that type of fall from 1 to 30, that's a different ball game. We're not talking about 1 to 9 or 18 where you're like the last to make the playoffs.
I understand.
I mean, I just know you because you're competitive. You want to win, except if it's the Jets, because you've lost all hope.
I've accepted that. Yeah,
but you've accepted it. You're just a depressed Jets fan, but that's cool. I mean, at least maybe you're happy now because you know how it is. But if Miami went from 1st to 30, I know you'd be like, all right, dude, get this son of a bitch off the field right now. Get him out. He's fired.
But like I said, like for example, Mascherano, I want him out already, and there's a chance that we end up second in Supporters Shield race.
Exactly.
And I want him up just because I've seen the way his team plays.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that I've watched the Galaxy enough to know what's going on. I know some people in the chat said that their midfield was gutted. I know that they were missing their best player. Inter Miami wasn't missing their best player this year. Their best player played more than he played last year. Last year he missed all the summer.
Here's a question real quick, though. When Suarez and Messi were out last year, we both agree they were really good last year. We were really good. How many games did they win without them? They didn't lose a single game. And that
one game, but
and that summer run, they went like 8. I thought it was like 8 or 9-0. Right. Because Tata Martino is a good coach.
Exactly.
And he made it work. That's what I'm saying about Greg Vanney. Greg Vanney, I think, has missed the playoffs. He's only made the playoffs 2 of his 5 years as the Galaxy coach. He's only made it 2 of 5 years. He made it in 2022, and he made it in 2024. He missed it in 2021, 2023, and 2025. So he has missed the playoffs 3 of his 5 years.
Was it you that put a hot seat ranking? I think it was you, right? That put a hot seat ranking. Okay.
Yes.
I agree with him being number 1. And I think that next year starts with him on that hot seat. But I don't think you change coaches. Now, if he gets off to a bad start next year, then I think you have to act quickly. But I don't think you do it yet.
Well, the one thing I do like about Miami is that they do have high standards. So if Javier Mascherano sucks ass in the playoffs, which we kind of expect him to do, they're going to fire him and they're going to get hopefully a better coach, and we'll see what they can do. But that's what I like. The reason I even brought that up to you is because I'm hoping that we have a higher standard. I'm not saying you have to fire a guy because he loses 4 games in a row like they do in Europe. But I do think that when you go from 1 to 30, that is a fireable offense if you coach the whole season. And I just wish we have more teams have high standards for their team, for their performance. That if they're bad, they get fired.
This is the thing. That only works in Europe because those teams that have the quick trigger have such a high payroll compared to everybody else. If you're paying your players, I don't know, 10 or 20 times more than half the league, yeah, your coach better be winning. There's parity here, so it's different. That's the reason that there's no pro rel here, is because of pro rel you can drop just randomly. You can have the Eastern and Western Conference champs all of a sudden not make the playoffs the next year. And I just wanted to look to see real quick. The Galaxy at the moment are 30th, like you said, but there's a possibility that they move out of the 30th spot. They have 3 games to go. They will probably end up 25th.
Oh man, the Galaxy fans can't contain themselves.
It doesn't sound as bad when you say 1 to 30. That's 1 to 25th.
But here's the thing too, real quick, what you said about parity. There is no parity because we just did a list of teams that you don't have any faith they can win. There's no parity. It's forced mediocrity. There's no parity in MLS. There's teams we know are never going to win. You think St. Louis is going to win?
Vancouver was never a team that we would have ever said that was going to win.
But they've changed. They spent money. They got Thomas Muller, and they changed. Well, I mean, Man City's done that. There's been plenty of teams in Europe that have changed because they spend money.
Right. But what I'm saying is that there's a salary cap. There's only so much you can spend. Any of these teams can decide to do that. Philadelphia, they don't spend money, and they're up there.
But they're not going to win. I know they're not going to win the MLS Cup. That's what I'm saying. I know. I could tell you. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win, but I can tell you who's not going to win. I can tell you who will not win an MLS Cup. That's what I can do.
Minnesota, like these are teams that
it's just not going to happen.
We'll see. Hey,
yeah.
I'm okay with it not happening, but
yeah, no, and that's the Dennis says Vancouver was a contender. They were a contender. Thomas Muller just put them over the top. I agree. They were very good. They should have done better in the Champions League final, but having Thomas Muller made them even better. So that's why I think they are a true contender with him on this team. But yeah, man, there's just a lot of mediocrity in this league, and that's why I do applaud LA or Inter Miami for being willing to fire their coach, even if they make the playoffs. And New York City fired their coach last year, even though they made the playoffs.
Yeah. It's different when you win the cup, though.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts there, Will?
Well, final thoughts are, holy shit, it's been a long season. I mean, I feel like it's been a very long season. I don't know if that's how you feel. Decision day is 2 weeks from Saturday. Very excited about the close to the regular season and the playoffs. So me and you can see who's going to win MLS Cup and finally, see what the results are going to be. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting season, and I can't wait for the playoffs to start.
And let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me at MLS Moves. I post, I haven't been posting a lot of videos lately. I've been doing more live watch-alongs for Miami and LAFC. You can follow me on Twitter/X. Or I have some takes that you might love or hate. And I always appreciate you having me on, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm rooting for LAFC. I really don't care who wins. I just want to see exciting ball. Just want to see exciting ball.
Be honest. What is your dream final? Because you don't have a team. So obviously, what
would be the best ratings for me?
Yeah.
I mean, LAFC Miami would be the best ratings, but I don't care who wins.
I know, but that's the final you hope to see.
I mean, it'd be the best thing. I mean, that'd be the best for everybody, right? The league. Do you think it'd be good if it's Orlando City versus Austin FC? You think that's going to be a good final?
How did the Red Bulls Galaxy go last year?
Terrible.
Yeah, it was, right? Because nobody cares about the Red Bulls.
And it's the two biggest markets in the country.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Nope.
Worst ratings in years.
Yep. All right. Well, Will, I appreciate you joining. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you jumping on. If you're listening on audio, appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars and a comment. For those of you watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And for those of you in the chat, appreciate you hanging out with us for the last 43 minutes. Will said he's going to keep me 40. He was right. And we will be back next week to talk about everything going on in the MLS. So until the next one, have a good one.